Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Brought to you by Blue Sky Business Consulting. We discuss 5 questions in about 15 minutes. Hello again, and welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Richards. Very excited to welcome our guest for this week. This is Dr. Paul White. He is from Wichita, Kansas, and is the founder of Appreciation at Work, and also has a true best-selling book out there about appreciation in the workplace. So, Dr. White, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Tell us a little bit more about some of the projects you're working on.
Yeah, glad to be with you, Shawn. So I'm a psychologist by training, and over the years I've done different things, but most recently I've co-authored some books, 4 books with Dr. Gary Chapman, the author of the 5 Love Languages, and we wrote together the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace, along with an assessment and training, and it's done well. It's 800,000 books. The average business book sells about 3,000 copies, and we do that in 1 month typically. And so
Nice.
I'm pleased to be with you and see how it can be of help.
Oh, this is great. Thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations on your success. And I'm anxious to hear from you based on all of your experience and knowledge about the questions that we'll discuss today. So let's jump right to it. First question: how can leaders create a psychologically safe environment for their team?
Well, I'm a straightforward Midwesterner as well as a psychologist. So, I just think that creating a form of communication that's honest and open,
Mhm.
direct versus indirect. So you talk to the people that you need to talk to versus through somebody. And that it honors the relational boundaries of the roles. And I think doing that with care about the other person is a great starting point.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, open communication. That's a big thing. People feel like there's hidden conversations going on, and it absolutely destroys trust and that psychologically safe environment we're all working for and hopefully working in. That's great. Okay, question number 2. Obviously, there's been a lot of people that have influenced you throughout your life. When you start to think about maybe those 1 or 2 people that have had the most influence in your life, what's one word that you'd use to describe that person?
Yeah, it was pretty easy to come up with a mentor early in my career that was caring, that
Hmm.
I knew that he cared about me and related to me in that way. And, that's a great foundation from which to build a healthy relationship. So,
Oh, definitely. I really like that word, or that word caring. And it's been such a fun experience this season with the podcast because I'm getting different words every week from different people. And I thought at first when I thought, well, is this question going to prompt a lot of the same words and we're just going to hear the same thing over and over again? That's not been the case. It's been interesting to hear everybody's different word on how they would describe that person. Love it. All right. Question number 3. Now, when we talk about growth mindset, what is that for you, and how can leaders really foster that, nurture that, promote that, either for themselves or maybe for their entire team? But talk to us a little bit about growth mindset.
well, I guess I've been a lifelong learner, and I think one thing that leaders can do, not only for those they lead, but for themselves, is to allocate resources for learning.
Mm.
That whether that's books, conferences, maybe coaching, that kind of thing, that you realize that people need to grow, and that takes resources, and you'll allocate that, and not necessarily just money, but also time and energy. You
Yeah.
do that, and then have sort of the communication process of asking people what they're learning, what are they reading, who are they being influenced by, as well as sharing what you're learning with others.
I really like that because it's such a simple solution, and yet it eludes a lot of organizations. And I appreciate that you also emphasize the importance of allocating time and really having some, I'll use the word accountability, allowing people to share what they've been reading about, what they've been learning about, and being willing to do that as the leader to kind of demonstrate and to create that communication. I love
Yeah.
that, but it's definitely something that requires intention. You have to be willing to allocate that time, and if you just kind of throw it out there as yet another thing to do, that's not going to work. But if you give yourself some time to do it, it can be really effective. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Love that. All right, fourth question. Let's talk a little bit about a topic that is ever present. It's been growing, been talked about a lot more in recent years and in the recent generations. But when we talk about emotional well being, leaders can go through a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. What can leaders do to manage their emotional well being?
Well, and it's not only for leaders, right? It's for all of
It's
us.
for all of us, sure.
Yeah. But I think leaders who are, moving forward and trying to advance their business or organization can get focused on problem solving and so forth. And I think one thing that I'm continue to learn is just to stop and have an attitude of gratitude or thankfulness. And one way to do that, I mean, as a psychologist and working with people in counseling and coaching settings, we tend to compare ourselves to people that are just a little bit better off than ourselves, and so we're always one down and all that. And yet, here in the States, our lives are better than billions of people, and I think
Right.
focusing on what we have, health, we have clean water, we have access to food, we have shelter, we have healthcare. Just sometimes we assume all those kinds of things, and they're not assumptions for most people in the world. And I think really stopping to be thankful for the people in your life, the circumstances of your life, goes a long way to helping you deal with stress of life and business and not worry so much about the problems or challenges that you face on a daily basis.
I like that a lot. The attitude of gratitude. It's a great phrase. I've heard it many times over the years, but it's a good reminder that having that attitude, that mindset, that gratitude for the people and for the things. I'm like you. I'm a little bit more focused on the people part of it and the people that are in our lives, but that's a true blessing. And so, thank you for reminding us of the importance of using gratitude as a way of kind of measuring and monitoring our emotional well being. All right, question number 5, the fun question that we always end with. Tell us a story about baseball that you want to share with the group.
Well, I grew up playing baseball and started, I think, when I was 9, a little later than they do now, but was a decent athlete as a kid. That sort of like, faded as I went on, but, um, one year, I think I was 12, I pitched in the Little League All-Star game for our community,
Mhm.
but what was interesting about it is the individual I pitched against wound up becoming a Major League Baseball player for, he was
Wow.
a shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies, and, just looking back on that and having fun with that, that our paths cross, with people that are really good at what they do. He happened to be a year or maybe 2 years younger than I am, those leagues that had, like, uh, 11 to 13-year-olds,
Yeah.
but anyway, it was fun, and, I did okay, so
Well, I don't I rarely do this on the podcast here, but I got to do it because I am a huge Phillies fan.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my team. So I got to ask, who's this pitcher or shortstop that you were talking about?
Yeah, his name was Steve Jeltz, Jeltz, and, would have been, I don't know when he would have played, probably back in the '80s,
Wow.
and, yeah, he was quite an athlete, all around, played football as well, but,
Wow.
yeah, it was fun.
That's cool. That's a great story. I love that. It's always fun when we kind of know somebody that made it to the major leagues in any sport and we have
Correct.
that fun little connection. So that's awesome. Well, Dr. White, thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending time with us on the podcast today. Tell us how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so, our website, and thinking back about the gratitude, I mean, another word for that is appreciation, appreciating the people around you. And so wrote this book, The Five Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. We have a website, appreciationatwork.com. It's the word at. And can find out about the book and we have an assessment, an online assessment. It's been taken by about 500,000 people around the world, and training resources for people to be able to take their teams through a process of learning how to show appreciation, authentic appreciation in the ways that are meaningful to the recipients. And if they also want to email me, Paul at Dr. Paul White, drpaulwhite.com, I can send them a sample report and a group summary that we use with teams. So be glad to do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's such a great tool that you have and that you've created to be able to help people just understand each other a little bit better. I think that that's a lot of what we're after here is awareness and just trying to become aware of the people around us and how they might be a little bit different in how they approach things. And gratitude is one of them. How do I show appreciation to this person? And those five love languages, that very much is that was helpful for me as a younger man, and it still is, as well as I like how you've partnered up and done something in the workplace. So I think it's a very valuable asset that you've created there. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's joining us every week. If you've not already, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, whether it's the video or audio version, either one. And join us every week as we continue to learn more about team engagement and leadership. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day. This is Shawn Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Be sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And for more leadership tips, pick up your copy of Rapid Fire Leadership by going to rapidfireleadership.com, where you can also download free resources to help you in your leadership role. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.